All right, YouTube says I'm live. Hopefully this is working. Let me know if I have technical problems. Professor Matthews, Dr. Matthews, learning about movies, our live stream for this month. Welcome. I have lots of great things to say. This live stream, first of all, is sponsored by Ovid. If you need a change in your life, here you have Ovid to tell you that's exactly what's going to happen. So, Ovid, thank you for sponsoring. We have lots of things to talk about. Substack, just shameless self-promotion. Here's my Substack. I just put out this write-up on Godzilla -1, which came out on streaming this past weekend. I finally got to watch this movie and offer my commentary. I usually do a very quick write-up. 20 minutes worth or less on Letterboxd. You can go follow me over there, please. The link is in the description. And then I take that and I expand upon it, make sense of it, usually in a Substack post that goes straight to your email inbox. You don't have to click on anything. Isn't that nice? Also, that's the best place to donate to this channel. I should add, though, also there's memberships to this channel, which give me about half. A Substack membership gives 90%, which is real nice to me. But YouTube memberships are fine and good too. So I just opened up the membership so that all my content that is available, by which I mean all the stuff in the future, and I am working 6 months out. So if you become a member of my YouTube channel, you will get 6 months worth of videos that I've worked on and will be published up through next January 2025. You're going to get like 20 to 25 videos from me if you want them, if you become a member right now. So just so you know. And I don't know where to do that. I think it must be on the video. There must be a video link somewhere around there about your play or your whatever you're on to get to that membership. So we got Substack and Letterboxd. That's where I work primarily. There's Twitter too. What do we normally do? We talk about movies to watch. Movies that as Criterion Channel, just so you know. I usually use them as a launch point to talk about various movies that I might recommend that are on their channel. I think still, I've said this 100 times already, this is the best channel. I like Max too. I like their selection on Max right now, just so you know. So I'm subscribed to Criterion and Max. And I'm not sponsored by anybody, so I'm not promoting it. I did sign up for Kino. They have a new channel out. And it looks suspiciously. I'm going back and forth here. You see a difference between Criterion and Kino? It looks like Kino exactly copied their interface, including their font and everything else. I don't know if the code is just public domain and you can just do this. But Kino has pretty close to the exact format for their channel. Now, they don't have, just so you know, very many selections. And almost all of it, I dare say all of it, is art house fare. I would not recommend this to my normie friends and family members, which is like 98% of my social life. And that's fine. They watch what they want. That's great. I'm not denigrating them or playing them down. I'm just saying I don't think they would like a lot of this fare on this channel. The reason I got it was because it's got a lot of I'm going through the 1990s year by year as I'm doing my Oscar revisiting videos, and it's got a lot of movies that were acclaimed award winners that are hard to find, hard to get on disc or look terrible on disc on this channel. Cannes Film Festival winners and things like that. Academy Award foreign film winners and so on. It's got a few of those. It's got a few newer movies. I like some of the stuff on here for sure, but when I looked at it, they had a discount recently. I don't know if they still have it, like 20% off, 50%. I can't remember what it was. It was like $50 a year to sign up. So for $50 a year, I'm gonna get my money's worth if I watch like 10 movies on this channel. That sounds like a lot, $5 per movie, but it's hard to get them. And if I were to rent them on streaming, it might add up to about that much. So anyway, I thought it was a okay deal. Hopefully they get more stuff on there. I'm not promoting them. I'm not even saying you should sign up. Just so you know, it's out there right now. I think it released last weekend or the weekend before. So in theaters now, nothing. But news is that the Memorial Day box office stunk. They had Garfield movie and Furiosa, the fifth Mad Max movie, and in the United States, maybe worldwide, it was pretty bad. People aren't wanting to go to movies. Why? Because all kinds of reasons, and Hollywood has not adapted or made the theatrical experience good enough to give us incentive to go. I still go to movie theaters, but why not just wait for streaming? And if you're going to take 5 people or 10 people, I have a family of 6, you're going to take them, you definitely want to wait for streaming because it's going to cost you 80% less or more. I got a guy in my life complaining. He went to see The Phantom Menace, re-released Star Wars 4, Star Wars 1, and it cost he and his 2 little kids $106. Because I don't know why. I think he got the full experience. He went to whatever. Maybe it was IMAX, and maybe he got a lot of popcorn. He said it was $106. And no thank you. Most of us will not want to spend that much. That's a year's worth of a Max subscription. Okay, so like, why would I do that? Anyway, to talk about money is fun, but I think about renting, streaming, going to theaters a lot because I do wonder at what point will everyone, the movie makers, adjust to what the preferences of the masses are. And yet I love the movie theater experience. I was heartened to read about recently micro theaters flourishing in big cities, of course, not anywhere in a local small town like I have, but big micro theaters of 20 to 50 seats, and they're screening a variety of things, like the things you're seeing flash by on this Criterion Channel browser. So anyway, go ahead and comment. Do whatever you want in the comments. I'll interact with that later, as I normally do, and shoot the breeze with you. I'm enjoying just looking at this Criterion, all these curated selections going by. Should I dare click on this? The old grumpy Paul Schrader. If you want to see a real old grump, you go onto his Twitter/X feed, which I get updates from on my Discord, which you should go to the Discord. It's a nice little community of people who are enthusiastic about this channel and movies. I think they're kind of fun. So Discord, go to it. What does he recommend here? Oh, of course he recommends this stuff. Yes. Of course he does. Paul Schrader, and he's going to comment on all these movies. Only one that I haven't seen is Claire's Knees. All right, I'll put that up there. Add that. Anyway, let's look at Criterion's what's going out, which is always a useful, off the channel this month. Always a useful thing for me to look at because I am stuck with trying to find movies that aren't available quite often. And in my search to the 1990s, that's really still happening. I got to go get interlibrary loan discs to find certain 1990s movies, which are difficult to procure. They're not on streaming. To buy the disc is too much or impossible. So let's take a look at these. And leaving Sorcerer, my nemesis. A movie that a lot of people have loved. A revival of this William Friedkin movie, which he made, I think, after The Exorcist, his smash hit from the 70s. And I just don't like this movie, and I should rewatch it, because I think I probably miswatched it. Everybody else likes it, I don't like it. Is it my fault or your fault? That's a dilemma. I'm a nonconformist by heart. Yeah, I'd like to think I am. But Sorcerer, I didn't think it needed to be remade. The Wages of Fear is the original movie. It's a remake of that, sort of, in a new global Americanized American Empire context. Interesting movie because it came out during the summer of Star Wars, Episode 4, I think around the time of it. So it's an interesting movie to compare to Star Wars Episode 4, by the way, if you want to try to look at the zeitgeist, what was happening at the time and what filmmakers were up to and interested in. Then we have the giallo pick, forget my Italian, Inferno. I have seen this. This stuff is not for me. Sorry. By the way, my projects, I'm going through A24 movies. If you go to my Letterboxd, you'll see most of my recent reviews are A24 movies. I'm making a list, going to make a couple videos on the best A24 movies. So why I'm saying this is there's a lot of A24 fare that's like this elevated art house horror stuff. I'm just not into it. It's just not for me. Mostly not for me. So I feel like that's either the deficiency on my part or a taste problem I have. That may alienate me from some internet bros who absolutely love horror. But anyway, After Hours, though, is an excellent movie. Near Dark is a very good movie. I just did a video on Near Dark. I just made one. It's coming out this Halloween, my video on Near Dark, Catherine Bigelow's first I think it's her first feature. Bill Paxton really hams it up in wonderful ways here. It's a vampire movie, down and out disaffected youth in America, 1980s context of AIDS epidemic, Gen X, dark Gen X fare. It's worth checking out. She takes the cast of Aliens. James Cameron, I think, will become her husband in a couple years after this movie. I don't know if they're having a romantic affair at this point or not. She takes a cast, like 3 or 4 members, actors in Aliens, not Sigourney Weaver, but the other ones, and puts them in Near Dark as vampires. It's kind of interesting. In fact, she actually shows Aliens like it's on a marquee in a theater as the characters pass by it. So I like this movie. It's been studied and academically. It's a little underrated, perhaps. These 2 movies are good, mid-'80s, black comedy, dark American fare, with Scorsese's After Hours being one of his more unusual movies. It's an oddball in his filmography, and I really do like it. I did a video on that, too. Sunset Boulevard, people know about that. I don't know if I've seen Jade. Oh, so the Friedkin movies are leaving. By the way, I've not looked at this at all, so I'm just reacting to this as we go. They had Friedkin movies on here. He died recently. Maybe that was their impetus for having that collection. The Graduate. I have a takedown review on Letterboxd of that. I hate that movie. Sorry, I don't want to be negative. I don't like to. I actually don't like trolls, so they'll probably come troll me for disliking The Graduate. I think that's a movie of its generation. I'd rather read Philip Roth. Okay, so that's my deal. Give me a Philip Roth from the 60s. In a Lonely Place. Good. I'm not seeing these Safdie movies. You guys recommend the Safdie ones? Because I watched A24's Good Time, Safdie movie, and the Uncut Gems movie, which I think is really, really good. So do you guys like these? Daddy Longlegs? I don't know them. And I am learning about movies as much as anybody else on this channel. So there you go. Also, I'm not seeing Cruisin', Al Pacino. Should I? Escape from New York. There's some movies I've not seen on here. Asphalt Jungle I've seen. Now we're getting to lesser fare. Oh, they got the Before trilogy. Okay, so this is a good, I think for everybody out there, if you look at Netflix or Max or whatever, what is going off their channel, and you subscribe to that, you pay good money for it, this is what you want to watch. To me, it's my dad advice because, hey, you might not have access to it for several years. It goes off streaming. It may be off there forever. Who knows? So there's a lot of good stuff. I love the Before trilogy, so maybe they have all of them or just this one. That one, too, is a high strong recommend. Did a video on the Before trilogy for an introduction to the Before trilogy. Oh, and there's Threads. I've talked about this before. It's a science fiction movie from 1984, realistic movie. It was aired on the BBC, as that description says, and it tries to go through the scenario, a what-if scenario. What if global thermonuclear war during the Cold War really happened? And what would happen to... I don't remember where it is in England. I'm sorry. UK people tell me. Middle of England, north of England, can't remember. But it goes through like particular location, what would happen to it, and goes several years after the war. It's very harrowing as an audiovisual experience. I'm even thinking about showing this in my science fiction class this coming year, as sort of trying to be an ultra realistic science fiction work, which is an oxymoron because science fiction is a hypothetical. Hasn't happened, not yet, might, but it's realistic in the sense that it seems like that's what would really happen. So a lot of people have rediscovered this and seen it as quite good, and it is worth checking out. Unfortunately, it's a Dr. Strangelove follow-up. Dr. Strangelove takes place in the bunker and has that sort of very dark, satirical bent to it. And this is more about real people on the ground versus the Strangelove bunker. So I think those are an interesting conversation with each other, those 2 movies. Got some Millier stuff here. I've not seen Lair of the White Worm. Is that good? Because Ken Russell gets a lot of play on the Criterion Channel as a director, and I don't have much opinion on him because I think I've seen just 1 or 2 of his movies. And then more Safdie stuff, and then Ken Russell. Okay, James Gray. I haven't seen the James Gray stuff either. That's one with Joaquin Phoenix. I really want to see that because it looks interesting. Two Lovers with Joaquin Phoenix and Gwyneth Paltrow from 2008. The reason I didn't see that because 2008 through about 2012, I was MIA because I had 3 kids in 4 years. A set of twins after a baby, my first child. So, lesson learned: if you think you can have one child, you might actually have 2. You know, if she says she's pregnant, ask yourself, statistically, could be 2, not just 1. Could be 3. I did a video on Night in the City. That's a noir from 1950. Covered that one for people new to it, people wanting to know a little bit more about it. I think that's a really rich movie. Jules Dassin, I think that's how you say it. Pretty interesting. Wow, they got a lot of good stuff leaving. It's fantastic. I'm pausing here because, look, have you seen the movie Them? That is the last cover art I would put on it. That does not give you the flavor of Them, which is a movie about gigantic ants who attacked civilization. I think they attack Los Angeles. Is that what this movie is? It's gotta be. Looking at the description, it doesn't say it, but that's the giant ant movie. Why does it have a little girl in it? That's not going to attract anybody to it. For what it is. It's an okay movie, not great. God, another Safdie movie. Elia Kazan, Panic in the Streets. I need to see that. That's somewhere around right before On the Waterfront. And I like Kazan a lot. Michael Mann's Collateral's on here? Oh my goodness. Criterion. You're going to downsize. Sheesh. All right, what do you all think of this? I like The Man Who Fell to Earth with David Bowie. It's a very weird movie during the time where he was a superstar, making all these records people love. An alien comes to Earth. That's a case where, to me, the movie is better than the book, and I like the author of the book. So anyway, boy, oh boy. What do you all think of this? Joseph Mankiewicz, No Way Out? Jeez. Oh, there's a schlock fest. The New Barbarians? So it looks like I should try that. Man alive. All right, there's one other thing I want to get to the Criterion Channel. They had... I don't know if I want to promote this. I don't really care. I care myself. I don't know if you all care. The synth soundtrack. This is my world. I love this stuff. I love the sound of good synthesizers. And Sakamoto, Tangerine Dream, Vangelis, Sun Ra. I don't think I know that Sun Ra scored a movie. Anyway, I've been shortchanging all because I literally had Clockwork Orange, the Blu-ray, on my to-watch shelf. I've seen it, okay? I've not seen it. But I need to rewatch it, maybe do a video on it, do something on it. And I have not done that. So it's been 3 years since I purchased the Blu-ray. What I'm staring at here, it's reminding me there's a synth soundtrack that makes it more attractive to me in some ways. Early synth, too. So maybe it's worth checking out. I like Missing. It's a good movie from 1982. Well regarded at the time. Good political scenes in that movie. Scenes of unrest and a coup, I think in Chile in the 1970s. Saw it on Precinct 13. I've seen that, but it's been a long, long time ago. This is wonderful. Okay, so is by the way, those of you who know, is Forbidden Planet. Is it the first movie to use synthesizers? Or they just use as sound effects? I can't really, I've seen the movie a couple times. I can't really remember, though, what the soundtrack is. And I feel like I could be right in saying it's the first movie to use them. Certainly one of the first. But also, I think they're just sound effects. If I remember correctly, not music. But maybe I'm wrong. Have any of you seen these movies? Some of these I don't know. Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence is excellent. Last Wave, I haven't seen that in a long time, is very good, from Peter Weir. Boy, I should check all this out. Does Brian Eno do this soundtrack? Yeah. So if I see them all over the place, it's like, even if the movies suck coming out, which this past weekend, nothing as far as my movie theater came out. Where are all the new movies at? In my childhood, my teenage years, my even early adult, there used to be a movie every week that seemed interesting or would have a major star in it for the whole summer. And now we've got nothing coming out. Maybe that's the strikes that were last year, result of that. I don't know. But What we do have is that all new movies disappear. They stop making new movies today. We would still have an infinite number of movies that we couldn't get to in a lifetime, unless you dedicated to watch 5 movies a day, which I don't recommend. All right, so those are the Synth soundtracks, directed by Paul Schrader. Oh, geez, a lot of Schrader. Always a lot of Schrader love on Criterion. I mean, let's do one more ensemble casts. This is, by the way, I just taught once again my intro to film thing, and I was toying with this idea, or I did toy with it. I did it. 2 kinds of movies, 3 movies of each kind. So I showed 3 romances and 3 science fiction movies in one class, and I thought that was better than my scattershot approach to the thing. Then 3 ensemble movies, and then 3 war movies. So I like the ensemble movies because it's like Stagecoach, Breakfast Club, something like that. They're a little bit different because they don't focus on a protagonist. Sometimes they don't do the hero's journey stuff, which is super easy to do. All the screenplays recommend that. They have to deal with a group and group cooperation, or sort of group cooperation, which I appreciate a movie that's doing that is because I think it's harder. No, I'm pretty sure it's harder. At least sort of harder to film. Round up all those actors. So Tenenbaums. I haven't seen The Women. Put that on there. School Days. Okay, yeah. Birdcage. Jeez, I haven't seen that since it came out, so I don't know anything about it. Don't love The Big Chill. I feel like that's for boomers mostly, but you should watch it and see if I'm wrong. I had a strong reaction to that as a full-fledged member of the Gen X fan club, but as a full-fledged member of Gen X fan club, Dazed and Confused, yeah. So these are very interesting. I mean, that would be a good one to show in a film class, in my opinion. Dazed and Confused, really interesting movie, well done. Movies without obvious plots. And some of these other ones I don't know. You know State and Maine? Is that worth it? I know of this movie. I haven't seen it. You guys like this movie? David Mamet. Obviously, Seymour Hoffman's in it. So, I don't know about that. And it says he's channeling Preston Sturges, but I thought he always did that. So, I don't know what that means. Yeah. Anyway. Well, let's go back to Substack. Put that up there. And check out the chat. Hi, chat. Let's interact with you. I'll bring you over here on my screen. Let's see what you got. I know you're responding to some things I just said, but hey. Thanks for showing up, everybody. Always good people on this channel interacting with it. Always. It's always great to, social media, what's it for? It's really to meet your people. So I appreciate you all and your interaction and thoughtfulness. And however you interact with this channel, which is giving views or more than that, subscribing and so on. Trink Luken is a 6-hour movie that pays homage to David Lynch's Twin Peaks. 6 hours, huh? Whoa. Am I supposed to see that in one sitting? 6 hours. That's half a waking day. That's like Showa, I don't know. I've not seen that. I did try to watch Twin Peaks. Don't ask me what I thought of it. And I mean the TV show, the original one from 1992. I thought it was dated somewhat. Actually dated considerably. I love Kyle MacLachlan in it. I love some of the imagery in it. I just think, it was probably okay for what it was. I don't know that it has lasting value, but just one guy's opinion. Abel Ferrara. Have you seen Handgun? Oh, that's it. Somebody. Eric Romer. Don't think he's made a bad movie. Okay. So dude who eats pianos. Subscriber, thank you, dude. My local theater does quite well by doing a mix of new releases, older showings. Exactly. I mean, here's one rare thing. I don't know how many people, quite honestly, I know or in my small town would do this. So it must take a big city in order to get enough enthusiasts. But when I have a theater show, like they did in the olden days, show re-releases. Now they're doing this because of the strikes and there's fewer movies to show. But all these re-releases are heartening because that's what they did. People couldn't go to see movies or couldn't see movies at home from the 19 teens to the 1980s. So they showed, did a revival of something, Gone with the Wind. I mean, how many times did they have a revival in movie theaters? And you saw it in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s. So why not do this? And I wonder how many theaters could do well by having what you're saying there: memberships, cheap snacks, perks, good service, good screen, good projection, all that. It's easier probably to do it at a local scale, but I'm not, or smaller scale. I'm not really sure though. What's a good phrase for so bad it's good? Unintentionally funny. That's like all bad science fiction movies. So bad it's good. It's like a weirdo crowd pleaser. It's devastating. I don't know. I'm not taking this seriously. I was devastated to see your 2.5-star rating of Wallace and Gromit: A Grand Day Out. Too simple? Okay, I'm confused. What the heck is Wallace and Gromit? Is that the first one where they go to the moon? Is that the first? Because, I love Wallace and Gromit. I mean, I'm all for it. I'm definitely going to do a Shaun the Sheep movie video on this. Oh, Grand Day Out, they go to the moon. Spoiler alert. Did I really? 2.5? It says 3. I like all these. But those are the shorts. What am I doing? Chris the Were Rabbit? Oh, that's going to be the average rating. That's not my rating. Duh. Well, of all these, excuse me, get on the camera correctly. I love Curse of the Were Rabbit. I love it when it came out. I still love it. I think it's funny. It's inventive. It's goofy. Gromit is a fascinating character to me because they make him. It's a good character. It's a good study in acting. It's a good study in drawing because they make Gromit, the dog, do so much with just his eyebrow, his forehead brow, whatever you want to call this part of the body. Right? They make him have hundreds of emotions with the way they move just that part of the body. And it's amazing how much you can do with so little. He doesn't talk. I assume he's a he, by the way. So anyway, Gromit, yeah. But I don't know what my problem was. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I think the first one, A Grand Day Out. Sorry to meditate on Wallace and Gromit if you don't know what that is. Go watch them. Go have kids and watch them. Is basic. Animation is pretty basic and primitive for me. It reminds me of the old Gumby stuff from the 80s. So they obviously got a lot better at it. And The Wrong Trousers is a great one to watch. If you can see that there. Yeah, there it is. So, a little bit more in the chat. What do you got? Let's check it out. Hi from the UK. Threads is set in Sheffield. Well, thank you, but I'm not. Sorry, geography. Geography problem. Where the heck is Sheffield? That's in the north, isn't it? I should know this. I'm looking at where Sheffield is. Yeah, isn't that considered the north? It's got to be, right? Or is that in the middle? You tell me. Yeah. Evan says, Daddy Longlegs. Okay, I'll check that one out, Evan. A24 is the generational Nike swoosh of films today. I guess so. I mean, among the cinephiles, because if I went to anybody on the street, I literally walk out there and walk down the street and talk to people, ask, what is A24? Nobody knows it. So I'm like, okay, you and I know it. Cinephiles, people into film, nobody else knows it, I think. Maybe not. So I still am all in on them because they're seeming to allow creative freedom. They I think they are. I don't have behind the scenes knowledge, maybe they aren't. But they seem to do what? They're not doing the Hollywood thing necessarily. They're open to directors putting their own stamp on movies in doing some challenging art. Let's say it's challenging. And maybe that's not hard to do because this day and age, Hollywood is definitely not doing challenging art mostly, maybe not at all. A24 does it. So that's why I still appreciate them, even if sometimes I dislike their movies strongly. So I don't know. Was Nike doing that? I don't think so. That's why I don't like the comparison. Nike seems like a corporation, whereas A24, at least they're allowing certain artists to work in interesting ways, I think. Mad Co asks a question I love. Okay, I watched Theodoros Angelopoulos, but Mad Co says the ethics of pirating movies. Ugh. Don't do it. Because don't get in trouble with the FBI. So that's just a pragmatic response. But also, I don't like it because people make stuff. They spend their time, they're creative, and then to reward them, to show them support, to even show that you're even engaging with their stuff is important. I don't like Spotify at all. I actually feel like Spotify is a pirate, if you want me to be honest, because they don't pay very much, and they sort of screw over people, original artists who have their publishing. I feel like you should pirate only if a government is suppressing you or censoring you and shutting the movie down. So whenever I hear about whatever place is like banning a movie, go for it. Because to me, that's where the art is wrongly, unethically, immoral. Let's put it as immorally being suppressed. I pretty strongly disagree with all censorship. I bet I have my limits, but they're so disgusting I can't even discuss them and not get shut down by YouTube. But they're governments that censor. Otherwise, you can get a movie legally. You can always get a movie legally. You can get it off the streaming services for rent. You can buy the disc. Okay, so you don't want to pay money? Guess what you do? You go to the library. And if they don't have it, you get it from another library through your library. Interlibrary loan. I do it all the time. The public pays for that. As far as I can tell. My college pays for that. My other universities I've been to, their state universities paid for that. So I would do it that way. The question I have ethically is, can I rip a library's disc onto my computer and keep it? Because I could perpetually just check it out. Right? And the public owns it, which is me. So that's where I am more fuzzy, and I've probably done something immoral. But I do not like pirating unless in special circumstances. That's been my stance since 1999 or 2000. Which back in 1999 we could pirate movies. I literally got half or more of the new releases on my computer. Now the download took. First of all, they weren't in 4K in 1999. Second of all, it probably took half a day or more to download those things at whatever ungodly speed there was, like 100K a second. I don't even remember. It wasn't terrible. Like whatever the rate was, even on the old T1 line maybe in college. That's a good question, though, and I think my students pirate too much when they could ethically and for free get the movies that they need to watch or want to watch. What's camera person? All right, well, first of all, Evan says, yeah, Twin Peaks is worth watching or to get to The Return, the third season. I have heard that many times. I thought about it. Can I just go to the third season? Is that going to make any sense? Oh, I couldn't get through all that stuff in that original 90s thing. Okay. Yes, it's worth it. I'm going to think hard about that. What about pirating movies that are totally unavailable by other means? I know. Right? I know. And then that's where I'm not kidding. In my 80s and 90s rewatches, trying to find these movies and then getting completely shut out by every legal and moral and available means. I'm like, okay, now should I find it on the internet in some dark back alley? Because there's no other way to get it. And that's where art is either been locked in a room in a vault and is unavailable for anybody to look at. So it's basically been hidden or suppressed, not by a government, but inadvertently, perhaps. I I don't know about that. That's a good question. They're just go to a minister or a philosopher, please. That's where I'm like, you do you at that point, because I really don't know. I'm for art being out into the open and everyone being it being freely available. I mean, that's why I love a lot of services on the internet, because they show you every document ever made, every book ever made, every video ever made. And then not to have a movie made from 1985 or 1992 that won an award and got lots of good reviews back then and people have seen a lot, and then it's not available at all. There are some like that. I'm like, maybe you should look for it that way. Yeah, I think you're right. Other people are saying in some countries pirated movies are the only thing available. Yeah, how do you experience art and yet it's free and open to you? Would I be for pirating books like that? I feel like I'd be more into pirating books than movies. Why? I'm going to have to examine myself on that one. I don't know. It's a good question. I think the default answer, though, is like for Americans, 98% of the time, 99.9% of the time, you shouldn't pirate. Okay, that's my deal. If I'm in China and they're banning things from me, or some other country, I'm like, yeah, go ahead. Has there ever been a movie I'm unable to find? Yes, many. As I said, in my 80s, 90s rewatchings, I have a list somewhere, not available to me right here. I could read it off. They're not movies people would know very well, but there are some that like got acclaim at the Cannes Film Festival. They were nominated for the Academy Award foreign film, now called the international film. There are several. If you go and look for those movies from 30, 40 years ago, we won't have a problem. Oh, and here's another argument for piracy to help you out. We do not have, or are missing, a substantial number of movies from the 1900s, 1900, just pick that as a random date, 1900 to 1940-ish. A lot. Like maybe a majority, I don't remember the number. 1900, 1940. Why? Because they're put on reels, and then they weren't preserved. They're thrown in a vault, weren't preserved, and then they've degraded, and now there's no copies that people have found, right? So we know all these movies, we know they were released, but now they're gone because they disintegrated. Most of them may not be great, but they are cultural productions that are of historical interest. So, for preserving movies that are cultural productions of historical interest, just to know what a people was up to, what they thought, what they dreamed, maybe it's okay to pirate and preserve. When there is no other movie, no other means by which to preserve them legally. So I do think that the modern monks, monasteries, preserving movies on their hard drives, they may be up to something that's important in 200 to 500 to 1,000 years. Maybe. Right? So you could look at it that way too. I'm still saying pay for it if you can pay for it. And then buy physical media to preserve your own curated collection. It's great. So, yeah, I can't remember the movies that were not available. I think Missing was one. Missing, that was an Oscar Best Picture nominee. It's in the Criterion collection, but the disc is out of print, so it's pretty hard to get. It was hard to get for me, let's put it that way. Missing. Now they have it on the Criterion Channel there, which is great, because it wasn't available about 5 months, 10 months ago, whenever I was looking for it. But there you had an Oscar nominee for Best Picture, not available easily. Kiss of the Spider Woman, a very good movie from the mid-'80s. Same thing. The one I found was a very low quality. It was like VHS ripped a DVD copy. Whoa! Right? And this thing needs to be remastered and preserved. So that needs, to me, there's a bunch of them like that. Doing a lot of hand gestures today. Wonderful. Yeah, the original Nosferatu was supposed to be destroyed, but it was preserved by enthusiasts. Yes. Metropolis was long lost. like the main cut of it. It was the 2 hours and 15 minutes, and then they finally found part of it in Brazil, whenever that was, in 2000. And so most people didn't have access to Metropolis, and even now it's still got. If you see the full version, it's got degraded parts to it, and that is frankly a reason to preserve against, copyright laws, something like that. Few movies from Weinstein Miramax are stuck in limbo. There are no Blu-rays. Yeah, the DVDs, but no Blu-rays. Right, and those are in danger. Right. Okay, you can find the DVD, but as time goes on, it's going to be harder. Right. So, yeah, and streaming, as we all know, is hit or miss. I love it, but it's a miss too because it's controlled by the people, and things go off of it easily. Have I ever thought about doing a Criterion Year challenge? Eli, I'm sorry, this is late in the chat, late in the stream. What is a Criterion Year challenge? Okay, I'm looking this up. Answer me if you know, real quick. Criterion Year challenge. What do I have to do? Watch a Criterion movie every year? No, by every year. Criterion movie every day? 52-week challenge where each category is a different thing based on Criterion collection? Is that what you're talking about? I'm getting a Reddit thread here first. 52 categories. I did this challenge. I'm not sure what this is. I have been interested to know, and I don't, how many Criterion collection movies I have seen. I don't even know that. I can't even guess at the percentage. I don't even know if it's 20% or 80. I don't think it's 80%, but somewhere between 20 and 80, I would guess. So, the list of Criterion challenge. This is what I get. 52 movies that correspond with a category. You need to watch all of them by the end of 2024. Well, the Criterion challenge 52 movies doesn't sound challenging. That's doable. 1 year to do 52. Okay. What are the categories? Oh. So what do? I pick a movie from each category? Is that what I do? Oh, I gotta pick from people's top 10 lists. Made in Brazil. How about made in Kazakhstan? It's just some weird ones. Are all these categories the same? On a site here, but knockout.chat. I don't know if that's right. Okay, yeah. Okay, so you do this to find a wide range of films. Right. But you can pick what you want. Yeah. And then you do what? Some kind of, I mean this in a good way, some kind of gimmick. Where you make a video on each one or something. I'll think about that. I like this. It's not bad. It's a way to get through stuff. Yeah. Or Netflix original released by Criterion. I don't even know what Netflix original is on Criterion. I have no idea. Which ones? Okay, there's one. Yeah, there's one on Letterboxd. Yeah. I have not been using Criterion's 24/7. That's like a cable channel, but now on the internet, where you can just pop in and watch whatever they're broadcasting on their channel that's streaming their movies, right? Yeah, no, I don't. Man, I stopped watching cable a long time ago. I like to choose what I like to choose, but I think this is an interesting idea. People are looking for one thing that we're missing without cable TV anymore is some kind of. No, I don't know. We're really missing this. Maybe it was a distraction, but some kind of ambient video, where a thing is playing in the background or playing with you as you work. I've been toying with this idea. What makes for a good ambient movie? One that can just sit in the background and plays and is helpful in some way. It gives an aura, atmosphere, helps spur you on to something. Is there such a thing as an ambient movie, like ambient music? But I think maybe the 24/7 could be used that way. Yeah. Why haven't I rated The Irishman? Okay, this is one of the last questions. I watched it on a plane, and I did not have a great experience because I'm on a transatlantic flight. I'm tired, and I'm watching this thing on a small screen. I didn't give it the right viewing experience. So I feel like I have not really seen The Irishman. I have, but I haven't. Right? That's what it feels like. So I've refrained from saying anything about it and giving it even a qualitative star review. So anyway, that actually happened quite a few times. I feel like I've seen a movie, but not under bad circumstances. So I need to rewatch. And frankly, it's a theme here because Sorcerer, maybe that I was just grumpy that day. So there you go. Favorite ambient video jukebox is TCM. Yeah, right. And then, Criterion, what are they doing? They're competing with that. I wouldn't doubt that Kino's going to bring one up when they get more movies. They only got 350, but more. All right, we've been here a long time. Feel happy and energized. This is nice. This is an introvert's dream. To talk to people, but not really talk to people. So thanks. Substack, Letterboxd, Twitter, and all these wonderful people here. You guys should put your Letterboxd on here. There's a lot of people on here, but not enough to just flood the chat. So go ahead and put your Letterboxd stuff on here, people. Go ahead and promote yourselves. Down at the bottom here, say if you're a fan of this channel, I think you deserve a Letterboxd look from us. So go ahead and do it, or something like that. Feel free to do it. I'll allow that. Sounds great to me. So become a member. You get a bunch of videos that I've already released. Members have access to all videos, including videos I'm going to release in the future. Many great movies. All right, without further ado, thanks a lot. Have a great summer, or winter, if you're in the Southern Hemisphere. Have a great June, though. Be back. See you in July. Have fun.